What's up guys, this is Ray and today we'll be talking about the classic and epic Japanese movie from 1985, Ran, directed by the legendary Kurosawa Akira, who I think needs little introduction. Kurosawa is one of the greatest directors to come out of Japan and just straight up one of the greatest directors of all time in the world. And you know, this video is actually brought to you by one of my patrons over at Patreon, Joni Pitcaranta. Thank you so much, Joni, for I don't think I have ever reviewed a Kurosawa movie on this channel up to this date. I don't know why, I just haven't done so, but thank you so much, Joni, for giving me this opportunity to talk about one of my favorite Kurosawa movies. So the story of Ran. Well, first of all, let's talk about the title of the movie. I'm genuinely surprised they decided to keep the Japanese name as the official English title. When you translate Ran to English, it loosely means like chaos, turmoil, war, conflict, and Ran finds a lot of inspiration from Shakespeare, more specifically King Lear. And also, I didn't know this until reading Wikipedia, but according to Wikipedia, this story also takes inspiration from a legendary daimyo by the name of Mori Motonari. And I didn't know that part. I knew the King Lear inspirations, but I didn't know that part. So that for me, that was kind of interesting. But Ran stars Nakadai Tatsuya as this warlord by the name of Hidetora, and he is the leader of the Ichimonji clan. And he's in his old age. It's about that time basically. He has to retire. He falls asleep at meetings, and all his best days are behind him. So he has this revelation that the best thing to do is to retire his power and give it to his three sons. So he names his eldest son Taro the leader of the estate. And also he gives land and power to the two younger sons. We have Jiro and Saburo. But what Hidetora tries to do is that, while passing on his power and the title and leadership over to his sons, he still tries to maintain his own place as far as power is concerned. And Hidetora's idea, his reasoning for giving his estate to his three sons, is that he envisions his three sons working together to bring harmony, peace, and prosperity to his land. But the youngest son, Saburo, kind of just goes against that idea. He doesn't think that Hidetora's vision will come to fruition. He knows that something is going to come amiss when you have three brothers trying to attain power. So he exiles Saburo and his servant for speaking out against him and his choices. But then as time comes to pass and Hidetora passes on his power onto his sons, he slowly starts to see the world around him almost literally start to burn. And it turns into somewhat of a civil war when Hidetora finds that Taro has betrayed him, and Taro is trying to hunt Hidetora down to try to basically take the state in full and leave nothing for Hidetora. So that's how Ran starts, and a lot of things happen in the story, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I will get into what I liked about Ran, and that is essentially everything. Everything from just the quality of the stage production. Look at all these sets where all the scenes take place. Everything was masterfully done. In the costumes, I love the costumes. I love the colors, the way in the cinematography, the way everything is framed together, the way the characters are positioned on the frame, the long shots that capture just the scale of it all. Everything was just done masterfully in Ran. Now, speaking of the framing, I really dug the way the characters the way they moved on screen. It almost felt like a stage play in movie form, and that's a very positive thing. And the way the actors performed, everyone was so engrossing, so engaging, that you couldn't help but just keep watching, and everyone was so magnetic. And I gotta give the most props to lead actor Nakadai Tatsuya for delivering a very tragic character that we have in Hidetora. Like, you were along with Hidetora the whole way, and you felt every emotional hit of his journey. From the beginning, when he's such in high place of power, you felt his kind of regalness, if you will, and then you kind of feel him when he descends slowly into madness, and then you're really there with him when his mind just breaks. And I think all the performers who performed alongside Nakada also delivered outstanding performances. I think for me, the most interesting characters outside of Hidetora, well, first of all, there was Lady Kaede. Lady Kaede is played by Harada Mieko, and for me, she was the scariest and most just interesting character out of the bunch. You know, Itatora was great because you follow his journey and you follow all his emotional hits. But for me, the one person that was the most interesting above him was Lady Kaede. You get this unsettling sense of fear, like you don't know what the hell she's up to. You know she's up to something, but you don't know exactly what. And then she unloads her backstory, and then you realize that the seeds of the destruction of the Ichimoji clan were planted way before the story started. But yes, Lady Kaede, with a tragic backstory and her sinister yet seductive composure, she was the most interesting character to me. And another interesting character was Kyoami, played by Pita. And you know, he was the royal jester, if you will. He was the fool. He was the one who led everyone in song, who would always who would be the comic relief, if you will. But you know, everyone kind of chalks him up to be this fool, this idiot. But in reality, he's just speaking honestly. He's the only one speaking honestly in front of Hidatora. He's the only one who's letting him know what others are probably thinking. And for me, his interactions with Hidatora are some of the most memorable in the story. And I gotta talk about the music. The music was also fantastic. You know, from the very first scene, it takes place along this mountain, and they're hunting a boar. But when the music comes on, it's very uncomfortable. It's very unsettling. Like, you know, it seems like a nice day out in the woods hunting, but you can't help but feel this sense of dread going on just with the music that plays from the first scene. And the music does well into accompanying each scene, and it's masterful at controlling the way you're supposed to be feeling during every single thing that happens. And what is a samurai kind of film without its battle scenes? Speaking of which, the battle scenes in Ran are amazing. Like, it's violent, it's bloody, it's gritty, and there is no CG. And you know, everything was, I think, for the most part, done with practical effects. And when you see everything that happens, like you have stuntsmen falling off of horses as they're getting shot with arrows. You even have shots that show arrows flying at characters, and they're barely escaping or dodging these arrows by a second just by closing the door. And because everything was done with practical effects and done very well on top of that, the sense of danger, the sense of dread that befalls these characters are just that much more real. But when it comes to the negatives of Ran, not really much to say, but if there was anything, I would say that at times Nakadai's makeup got pretty distracting. I understand it was meant to be kind of uncomfortable. Like, as the story goes on and he becomes more and more insane, he gets paler and paler. And you could tell, you know, it looks like stage makeup, if you will. It doesn't look like makeup that they would refine for a feature film. But you know, I think it has its own kind of aesthetic to it. But you know, I don't know. At times, for me, it did get a bit distracting. But overall, what do I have to say about Ran? Gotta watch it. It's just one of those must-watch movies. If you're a fan of Japanese cinema, if you're a fan of anything Kurosawa, samurai movies, you know, good movies, then you have to see Ran at least once in your life. I mean, it has it all. It has the kind of action and violent, bloody war scenes you would want in a samurai epic. It has fully fleshed out characters. Like, they're not two-dimensional at all. They're fully fleshed out. You have all the underlying themes that make the story and characters pop. You have themes explored such as, you know, human nature in characters, loyalty to family, and you know, all in all, I think the biggest theme was in the title of the movie itself, Ran, which means chaos, as I said previously. And I think there's no scene that captures the idea of chaos much more perfectly than the siege that the brothers have when they're trying to hunt down Hidatora and they're trying to trap him in the castle. And then the castle literally just burns down around him, and there's no sound. You only hear just the music and the fire burning around Hidatora, and just the expressions on his face as it just finally hits him that everything around him is just falling apart and it's descending into chaos. That, for me, that was the most iconic and most memorable scene to come out of this movie. But you know, those are just my thoughts on Ran. I would love to hear what you guys thought about the movie. Please let me know in the comments section below. Definitely appreciate a like, share, and subscribe, and for you guys to just check out other movie reviews I put up on this channel. Thank you once again, Joni over at Patreon, for requesting this movie for me to review, and of course all my patrons for helping support me even though I don't update the channel as often as I should. Thank you so much for sticking with me, but I promise to get back to normal schedule real soon. And everyone else, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch y'all again in the next video. Take it easy.